Welcome everyone to today's analysis. Seriously, get ready because today we're descending far below the surface to uncover some of the absolute darkest, most fascinating secrets our planet has to offer. We're journeying straight into the deep ocean. You know, it's a realm that feels entirely alien right here on Earth. It's packed with bizarre creatures, extreme conditions, and these massive mysteries that scientists are honestly still struggling to unravel. So go ahead and strap in as we take a plunge into the abyss.
To kick things off, let's rewind a bit to the year 1997. Deep, deep beneath the waves, an incredibly strange sound echoed through the water. And get this, a sensor captured it from a massive 1,000 kilometers away. Now, scientists analyzed this ultra-low frequency sound, and their conclusion was honestly kind of chilling. At that time, absolutely no known creature in the deep sea was capable of producing it. So, where on Earth did it come from? Are there creatures down there maybe 100 times larger than a human that we just haven't discovered yet? I mean, when you look at satellite imagery in the South Atlantic, some people even claim to spot massive anomalies. And that right there is exactly what sparks myths of ancient sea monsters, like the legendary Leviathan, just hiding in the depths for thousands of years.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why those myths persist. A staggering 95% of our oceans remain completely unexplored. 95%. We have literally only scratched the surface. To put that into perspective for you, we actually know more about the surface of Mars than we do about our own ocean floor. Our sheer ignorance regarding the deep sea is just vast, and it leaves this massive room for the unknown to thrive right beneath us.
Now, to truly grasp why we haven't explored it all, you have to understand the mind-bending depth we're actually talking about here. Imagine the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the entire world. If you inverted it and plunged it straight into the ocean, it wouldn't even come close to the bottom. Let's go way bigger. Take Mount Everest, flip it upside down, sink it, and then stack that inverted Burj Khalifa right on top of it. Even then, no way. You still wouldn't touch the very bottom of the ocean. The scale is absolutely immense.
So, this massive depth is divided into 5 distinct zones. We'll be using this as our roadmap for today's descent. We'll start up at the surface with the sunlight zone, stretching from 0 to 200 meters. Then we'll dive deeper into the twilight zone, from 200 to 1,000 meters, before plunging into the midnight zone, the abyss, and finally, the deepest trenches.
As we drop into the dim twilight zone, we find creatures that actually produce their own light, like the incredible glowing R-fish. But what's absolutely fascinating about the R-fish isn't just its glow, it's its apparent ability to act as a biological early warning system for natural disasters. In February 2025, one of these rare creatures suddenly surfaced in Mexico and lingered right in the shallows. And sure enough, shortly after, a severe earthquake struck the area. This really isn't a coincidence, guys. The exact same thing happened in Japan right before the devastating 2011 earthquake and tsunami, and we've seen it documented in California too. Living so deep, these creatures seem to sense tectonic shifts way before our instruments do, literally fleeing to the surface to survive.
But the Twilight Zone isn't just home to the oarfish, it hides some absolute giants. Here we find the massive sperm whale, weighing up to 5,000 kilograms and boasting the largest brain of any creature on Earth. Sharing this dark space is the colossal squid. Imagine a beast as heavy as a car, staring through the dim light with terrifying eyes the exact size of dinner plates. No kidding, literal dinner plates. And then there's the siphonophore. Now, while the individual organisms making it up are tiny, they link together in these massive colonies to form a single ribbon-like structure that is literally 2 to 3 times larger than a blue whale. It's wild.
Next up is the midnight zone, from 1,000 to 4,000 meters down. We are now plunging into total darkness. This is the exact realm where the wreckage of the Titanic rests today, under a crushing pressure that is 380 times higher than up at the surface.
Surviving here requires bizarre, almost alien biology for these slow-moving creatures. Take the anglerfish, totally famous for its glowing head lure. But even stranger than that, the tiny male anglerfish permanently attaches to the female, living and eventually dying while entirely absorbed inside her. Yeah. Then we have the barrel-eye fish, which rocks a completely transparent head, allowing its eyes to rotate a full 360 degrees just to spot prey in the pitch black. And we definitely can't forget the black swallower. This fish has a fatal appetite, routinely swallowing prey 3 to 4 times its own size. Sadly for the fish, this sometimes leads to its own death because it simply can't digest that massive meal in time. Moving deeper,
We hit the abyss zone, between 4,000 and 6,000 meters. Human exploration down here is incredibly sparse, but we do know it hides deceptive creatures, like the jumbo octopus, effortlessly swimming around with these bizarre head flaps that look exactly like ears.
But the abyss isn't just home to strange creatures, it hosts completely counterintuitive geological phenomena. Just picture this, a lake entirely submerged underwater. I know, it sounds crazy, but these are known as brine pools. They are literally dense, separate pools of water existing entirely underneath the regular ocean water, and they are filled with highly concentrated, extremely toxic levels of salt.
The crucial thing to understand here is that these brine pools are absolute death traps. If any deep-sea creature accidentally swims into or even just falls into one of these toxic underwater lakes, it is immediately fatal. It's an instant death sentence, just sitting silently on the ocean floor.
Now, in stark contrast to those silent pools, this same zone is also home to violent hydrothermal vents. Think of them exactly like underwater volcanoes. They furiously blast out scalding hot water completely loaded with minerals at a mind-boggling temperature of 400 degrees Celsius straight into the freezing, high-pressure ocean water surrounding them.
And finally, welcome to the deepest and most brutal zone of our journey, the trenches. Plunging from 6,000 down to 11,000 meters. This is the absolute bottom, a world of unimaginable extremes. To put the trenches into perspective for you, the pressure down here feels equivalent to 1,800 elephants standing directly on top of a single person. Anything with a standard skeletal structure would be instantly pulverized. And that is exactly why the bizarre snailfish thrives here. It survives this immense, crushing weight by having absolutely no bones whatsoever to crush.
Okay, let's dive into this. With all our advanced technology, why are these final deaths still 95% unexplored? Well, scientists face three massive barriers. The first is the sheer destructive high pressure. The second is a fiercely dynamic environment. And the third is the lingering threat of unknown creatures.
The deadly reality of that first barrier, high pressure, was tragically demonstrated during the 2023 OceanGate disaster. The submarine lost its signal just an hour and a half into its descent to the Titanic. Ultimately, the issue came down to the materials used. The hull was made of carbon fiber, while its joints were titanium. Under the immense crushing weight of the deep sea, these two entirely different materials compressed and expanded at completely different rates. This discrepancy caused a microscopic crack to develop, which, under that extreme pressure, caused the submarine to instantly implode in a matter of milliseconds.
Now, the second major barrier is the dynamic, highly unpredictable environment down there. When someone is piloting a sub at those depths, you aren't just dealing with water. You are dealing with sudden, drastic temperature shifts, completely unexpected volcanic eruptions right from the seafloor, and rapidly shifting magnetic fields. These sudden changes can instantly scramble and destroy a submarine's navigational equipment, literally leaving explorers utterly blind and lost in the abyss.
And what about the third barrier, the unknown creatures? Well, to understand what might be hiding down there, we actually have to look at our own beginnings. Earth's early environment was totally barren until millennia of rain formed the oceans. Deep within these new oceans, underwater volcanoes released crucial minerals. These minerals kick-started biological cycles which eventually formed the very first cells. This means that the building blocks of all life on Earth, including us, originated from these exact deep-sea vents. If life as we know it could spawn from such extreme alien conditions, it's highly plausible that entirely unknown, massive life forms still exist down there today, perfectly adapted to a world we can barely even reach.
But recently, we've noticed a shift. The deep is actually coming up to the surface. As we mentioned earlier, tectonic activity like earthquakes and underwater volcanoes forces these creatures upward. However, human interference is now playing a massive role too. The intense pollution we've created is severely lowering oxygen levels even in the deeper parts of the ocean. On top of that, the intense sound and vibrations from deep-sea mining are totally disrupting these fragile ecosystems. It's driving these bizarre creatures out of their ancient deep habitats and straight up toward our shores.
We've seen how vast, pressurized, and unpredictable the ocean truly is. We've talked about creatures with eyes the size of plates, literal underwater lakes of toxic salt, and life thriving in impossible depths. And we know that 95% of this world remains completely unseen by human eyes. So, I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder today. If the very origins of all life on Earth were born in the pitch-black depths of these underwater volcanoes, perfectly isolated from the world above, what else is still waiting